Yeah, you gotta wonder whether or not he specifically prepared something here, whether we're gonna see just a pretty standard Protoss play, or maybe he's gonna try to pull a quick one here on Serral. So far, it's looking pretty regular, looking very normal overall, and of course that Overlord is still there as well. We'll be able to spot pretty much anything weird or out of the ordinary happening. Robo facility, okay.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, the meta, as you're well aware, in ZVP right now and PvZ right now, is all about the Stargate play. You go Stargate, you go Warp Gate, you get a Void Ray, and then maybe you do something different. Maybe you go and decide to there's a charge that I'll end with 2 Void Rays. We saw Mana attempt that yesterday. Didn't really work out for him. You can go Stargate into Glaives. You can go Stargate into Stargate. Everything else under the sun. But what you often don't do is just, go straight Robo here. Oh, look at that. It's not even going to be Robo into Twilight into Glaives. No, we got a Robo Bay underway. And this is looking like it's going to be Disruptor drops from Classic in game number 1.
It really is, isn't it? It's something, it's not uncommon, but well, I guess it is uncommon. It's not unheard of, but... Alright, well, we'll just have to wait and see how this is going to go. Serral, we know he's very solid with his defense. He's very quick with his reactions. Disruptor drop, is that going to be your best bet against this guy? I have my doubts, but we'll see.
Actually, I think it is probably a better bet than going for your than kind of the standard idea.
All right.
So if you know you're an underdog, right? And I think we're kind of overselling the underdog setup, for Classic here. He's been looking a lot better. He had a whole murders row to qualify for this tournament. He qualified over Byun, Zoun, and Trap back to back, only dropping 1 map in the first Korean qualifier. So I mean that is a murders row, and it's the first Korean qualifier. Like, that's not easy to do. What he didn't do is show us his
Overlord. You see the Disruptor already?
Yeah, it's out.
It may have seen, at least he knows about the Robo and the Robo. He must know. He must know. Oh boy.
There we go. Disruptor shot on out here. Of course, it takes 2 shots to kill a Queen, but you know what? Damage. At the very least, it forces Queen energy out if that's what Serral decides to go for. And energy out on the Queen means less creep spread. It does allow Classic to just kind of control the map a little bit more. But look at this. This is so interesting. This is kind of like the opposite of a lot of Disruptor styles that we see, where you would go and you would go something. Disruptors are your timing, right? Or so you go 2 disruptors. Disruptor drops. You go 2 Colossus. You say Blink Stalker +1. Disruptor Colossus all in.
Yeah,
something like that. Ooh, whiffing there on the Disruptors, unfortunately. But in this case, this is a Classic build. This is so reminiscent of the way the Classic used to play. I mean, granted, not exactly, but I mean, Classic was known for his Phoenix play. Since he's come back, he's been introducing Phoenix play a lot into the meta, much like we saw when Gumiho came back. There we go. We will see Queen get assassinated. When we saw Gumiho come back from military, right? We saw suddenly everyone was playing a lot of mech. Because Gumiho plays mech, and it reminded people that mech existed.
It's like, oh yeah, you can make this work. This is a pretty valid strategy. Serral already dropped down the Spire here as well. He spotted the Phoenix being created. So once again, he is just in the know of what his opponent is doing, basically before it even goes into real effect on the map. It's very impressive how Serral just knows all these timings at any point in time and then always manages to get in there. Ooh, that could be a lot of drones though. 8 drones.
Yeah, 8 workers going down there. That's a lot of stuff. Going down for Serral in this game. And now, you know what? It's actually, so I think the most interesting thing about this is that now with the Phoenix play behind this, I don't know whether it's going to be a problem or Classic or not. But the big deal here, Classic is kind of doubling down on this harassment idea. Phoenix play traditionally with Stargate play The response to it was, I'm just going to drone more. I'm going to expand more. I'm going to drone. It's going to be great. In this game, Classic has kind of been playing two styles that both create that response. Well, I'm going to play Mass Phoenix. Okay, drone. You're going to lose some. It's fine. Recover. Mm-hmm. It's the same with Disruptors. I'm going to drone. Or like in terms of Disruptor drops, drone, recover. But we have 4 gateways coming behind this. We have +1 on the ground, as that's not going to get nearly as much. Oh. We have +1 on the ground. We have Blink underway. And, I mean, really, Classic kind of feels like he's playing this kind of like we would expect. Like, a Zerg traditionally plays a ZVP, where you go and you say, hey, I'm showing something to my opponent, so I'm very clearly going to do the opposite. Yeah, sometimes that can immediately throw your opponent off, right? But I mean, Serral, he's just been on top of things continuously. He just doesn't seem to be caught off guard by anything, because somehow, some way, he has an overlord in your base. And just there, he just knows where to put them, and he knows when to fly him in. You know, absolutely. Yeah, Serral, I mean, at the top of his game, just famous for, there's a Zergling in your base. There's a Overlord in your base every 30 seconds, like clockwork. Now, he did not only build Corruptors, he overbuilt Corruptors in this game, which is very interesting. It means he's now going to go try to snipe this Nexus down. And, well, Blink is done. +1 is done here for our ground attack. But Corruptors are tanky boys. And they're gonna take a while to kill off kill off the Corruptors. So, well, the base will go down. Now, Phoenix are starting to find their iron price. We will see actually only one Queen will go down because the rest of the reinforcements show up. And some Phoenix die in response. It looks like Serral just getting ready for just a rather significant, Roach, Ravager, Bane attack. But Classic doesn't really seem all that interested in making it happen. Now, again, we do have these Corruptors on the map here. Only 3 of them can do that right now, and there's a cannon. So eventually a lot of these Corruptors will go down. But now we have the Blink Stalker Disruptor all in that we talked about as kind of the natural response to this. But he got into it with, that's a big Disruptor shot. But he got into it through 7 Phoenix. This is it's really such an interesting setup. The question is whether it is going to work here, as a lot of these Roaches have already gotten very low. Now, 1 Disruptor is dead, which does really cut down half kind of the burst firepower that you're really looking for this attack from Classic. 2nd Disruptor going down as well, but you got to remember this army supply from Serral is a lie. It's just a bunch of Corruptors in the sky, really making it look a lot bigger than it is. But despite that, it looks like Serral is just starting to push Classic back here. But there we go. We got Phoenix flying their way on in, looking to lift up all the power units from Classic. Or from Serral, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, Classic trying to go in here. I'm not sure. I thought for a moment it may just be a little bit of a pressure to force out more units out of Serral, because he was doing all that harassment also. But yeah, committing there, and Serral was just ready for him.
And in the upper left, in the red, is Serral.
And his arch nemesis for today, it's the Blue Protoss. Hailing in the bottom right, Alpha Axis Classic. I guess also just the harassment from Classic just never got off the ground, did it? The Phoenix were flying around, but I think they got like 3 drones in total, maybe a couple more here or there, but not much was acquired by them. The Disruptor drops, they had that 1 good hit with 8 drones, but that was already at 6:30, so yeah, another reason why that kind of felt like a really convincing game there for Serral. We'll have to see if things unfold differently here in the Berlingrad map. I would love to see for Classic to try and be a bit more on top of clearing out those overlords and trying to negate the scouting from Serral, because I feel like that's the best way to kill him. If you stop Serral from knowing what's happening, he becomes mortal.
Yeah, so going for Phoenix Blade does enable that, right? You do prevent any overlords on the other side of the map from really getting too much done. But of course, I mean, by that point, Serral, it's all Link Scouts, it's map reads, and in part, it's also kind of seeing what you have. Maybe you or I can't go and say, wow, my opponent has 3 zealots and instead of 4, that means something's happening. But again, game sense of Serral is legendary. But you know what? I was very impressed with Classic in that game number 1. Yes, he did not win, but imagine if he had 3 base mining to make that happen. Imagine if he had set up his War Prism just a little bit further back instead of kind of using it as a shuffling tool for these disruptors, which, you know, he was able to kind of hot pick up, but then, you know, Corruptor showed up and whatever to allow for him to actually have proper reinforcements. I don't think we saw too many Stalkers joining that fight, rattling across. I think that push actually probably works. I mean, that was 25, 30 army supply of Corruptors just sitting there. Yeah, they can knock down a War Prism, but if you keep the War Prism far enough back, it's fine. And just not doing anything. The Stalkers were almost punching through. So imagine if that happens. I think Classic maybe can make this push happen, but not in that game, unfortunately. And now Classic in this game number 2, well, he tried the weird thing in game number 1. We're back to the old standard, at least for the start.
Yeah, Stargate's coming out once again, showing its Protoss mug on the fields, and it's going to be an Oracle first, so still relying more so on the offensive and the aggressive side of the Protoss arsenal. Serral, there goes that little sneaky boy again. The Curiosity will kill the cat. Usually it kills the Overlord too. But, you know, a cat dying of Curiosity, usually pointless. Overlords, they got their value here.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not that... Well, I guess the only surprising part of this is that Classic is opening Oracle into Void Ray, not the other way around. As, again, standard, you get the Void Ray, you knock down the scouting, you have fun. It does mean your Oracle timing is not going to hit as early as it could. You know, that 3/5x of the time we're seeing the Oracle pop in right now. So Classic trying to take advantage of maybe Serral being a little bit late on his spores. Maybe just, again, assuming that's not going to happen. But he did see the Oracle popping out. It's no issue there. Yeah. Of course, you know, Classic used to be known for for many things, but his Oracle control was one of them. But, you know, with Spores and Queens, with the setup here that Serral has, it's going to be very difficult for this single Oracle to find anything. And it looks like Classic in this game, too. We talked about the different ways you can come out of Stargate tech. Right, you can go double Stargate. He's going to go for the one that, personally, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But he's going to go for Glaives out of this.
Okay. If he keeps it hidden, it could work really well. But we already have the Roach Warren on the way. Serral. Yes, that little scouting circling there. I mean, the thing is, less people are using it now, right? So in that reasoning, you could say Serral could be caught off guard by this. How many gateways is he on as well? That's an important thing. Because he's getting the third base also. We have seen some other Protoss before going with the Adept Glaives, just more so as a way to control creep spread and do some slight harassments here and there. More so as the Terrans utilize the Hellion at the start of the game, right?
Actually, you know, that's a very good question. I kind of looked at this and like, okay, it's 4-gate Glaives with a third. But Classic is Zoun's teammate, and there's something that Zoun has been showing us in the last, I don't know, in the last 6 months is Serral's going to get Zerglings in the main. We talked about denying scouts, preventing all these scouting Zerglings from happening. Well, you know, that's not exactly going to happen here. Anyway,
I guess the Adepts are here now anyway, right? And this is looking pretty good. There's no Zerglings here ready to defend. The Queens, they're in peril. There's roaches, 8 roaches now on the production tab, but those drones already have Adepts right on top of them. Hello, this is a nice little holiday spa treatment for the Adepts, bathing in the blood of their drone enemies. Let's see if they can get a couple more. They should be able to. I would love them to see a little bit of a splitting up with these units, but he's sending in more. He's sending in more. Oh my god. 13 workers so far.
Yeah, and he's getting ready for the all-in off this. Not that it even matters at this point. 24 workers have died. And yeah, I believe this is the 4-gate version, but 2 additional gateways on the way. The Immortal, the Blink, the +1. Yeah, this is just, yes, I'm going Glaive Adepts. I'm going to do so much to prevent you from having fun in this game, Serral. As we see him, the look of dismay on his face. 24 drones for 7 Adepts. Classic's going to be very happy with that one, is now, he's not going to move out just yet. He's not going to immediately hit with the hammer of ire just yet, but Immortals are going to pop out. He's going to have 2 or 3 Immortals. He's going to have Blink. He's going to have +1. He's gonna have a lot of gateways, and once we have that Warp Prism out on the map, I mean, Serral is going to be hard pressed to make this happen. And it's funny, we were talking before this post. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this Kozan. Feels like 9 times out of 10, Zerg player is just going to be going for a Queen Walk with roaches, and that kind of kills this.
Wasn't there something about Berlingrad and Queen pushes as well? I'm not sure. It's not that big of a walk distance, right?
No, it's 33-second rush distance. It's a little bit faster. It's a little bit slower if you don't knock down the minerals in the walls. Mm-hmm. But it's a fairly simple matter.
Okay.
To go to
all right,
deal with that, at least
it's,
on your side
dangerous.
of the map.
It's very dangerous to do something like this. But man, to be fair, Classic did have the Oracle, and the Oracle was continuously scouting. So maybe if he had picked up on the fact that there were, an excess amount of queens being produced, maybe he would have switched up his strategy. We don't exactly know.
Yeah, but here we are. +1's done. Blink in about 20 seconds, and there we go. Warp Prism underway. And, of course, because this is the follow-on, we do have disruptors. So this is kind of a Zoun idea, right? Zoun was going two base adepts with glaives into disruptors into this kind of all-in. Classic's taken the obvious follow-on of, I'm taking the stats idea, 4 gig glaives off a third. I'm going to take ideas for both. So double disruptors on the way, +2. But I'm not convinced that Serral's going to be able to stop one attack, the +1 blink attack, much less the follow-up. Again, go ahead.
The circling aggression here already a very good way to of course slow down Classic, which is what Serral desperately needs to do right now. Just slow down your opponents. That Warp Prism in the main base, that could cause a lot of problems there. I'm not sure how well it's being treated. We did just see it. I'm not sure why okay, there we go.
And you know what? If 24 workers was bad enough, 6 workers going down in the spawning pool. Roaches looks like they were darting down the spawning pool instead of the adepts, at least in part, so that's not great.
Yeah.
I did expect to see Classic move out with this. It's +1, it's blink. You have sentries that have been accruing energy for the entirety of the game. But not there just yet. Maybe, I guess he was waiting for disruptors to make that push happen, and really leaning into that, 2 disruptor, blink stalker all-in idea. As Biles will get an adept, so moral victory, I guess, for Serral at this point. Now, Kozan, when we look at all-ins, PvZ all-ins, I'm still talking about this as if it's an all-in, despite, I guess, Classic taking a 4th. But when you look at all-ins, when the Protoss player is kind of equalizing on the Zerg army supply, that's kind of when you're like, okay, well, this is really not that great for the Zerg. But so Serral's not going for that. Why do you think that is? Or Classic, never mind, he's going for it. Here we go. There we go.
So I feel like both of these players kind of have the idea that there's going to be a final desperate death push coming at some point in time from their opponents. So neither of them really moving out as quickly as they wanted to. Classic is here now. Does have those disruptors, but it's an army that could potentially still get out of here as well if things don't quite go his way. Gotta be a bit careful with those disruptors. Oh, the banelings from the back on all those disruptors. Will it be enough? That is good damage right there. But then again, what's left for Serral? There's the Zerglings. They are marching in right now. Adept Glaives would be pretty good here to help buffer a little bit. But it's just, even then, again, it's just not enough. Serral goes down. Quite handsomely played there by Classic. The aggressor makes it happen this time.
In the bottom right, in the red, tied up in this series for NC Sports, Serral.
And in the top left side, we have a blue Protoss. Fighting for Alpha X. It is Classic. Have you ever tried how far you can get with those names and like how weird you can do the introduction?
Oh no, the trick is, unfortunately, we can't do it here. Competitive integrity, clean feed is on delay. But the fun trick is you just try to really mess with your introductions, so whoever is observing the introduction just has no idea what's happening.
Oh, it's a 2-minute delay here as well now, so.
Yeah, so we can't do it. But
double trouble. Yeah.
Instead, we just got we got to curtail our introductions to 12 seconds each, which is surprisingly hard to do.
It is. It is. You think Classic will... he's never going to do an adept attack again, right? But then again, me saying that makes me want to say straight afterwards, he's going to do it, isn't he? That dirty little boy, he's going to do it once again. Well, he's not a boy anymore. He's pretty old now. There's a pylon in that hatchery right there.
Oh, the fake cannon rush Kozan. You love to see it. Serral not taking this, well... He's actually taking this fairly seriously, pulling 4 drones.
Yeah, 4, wow.
To prevent it from happening, and there's the cancel. Oh, classic.
You can't blame him. He just got adept rushed, right? You can't take a risk like that anymore. Just not sending enough drones.
Yeah, no. But now, actually, it's a small thing. It's only 4, it's quote-unquote only 4 drones, but I mean, Classic's in a very good spot right now. Is this going to win him the game? Probably not, but it's going to be a pretty nice minor advantage for him in this game 3, because 4 drones for just about 20-30 seconds is a significant build order timing. What is this probe up to? Okay, nothing, but it's going to be a robo. Once again, we're going to see some aggressive option from Classic. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be yet, but he's going to turn up the taps once again as the probe will get found out.
He could try the drops again, right? The disruptor drops. I don't think I'll be a big fan of it. I just think it's a bit lackluster, just so hit and miss. And I don't know, I'm just not expecting Serral to mess up pulling away the drones when he sees the disruptor drop, especially if he's aware that it's coming. It's difficult to stop the scouting units to come in and well, catch wind of anything, really. I could give this away. I don't know, we'll see. What's the next building? It looks like it's going to be disruptor drops to me.
Okay. I mean, in fairness, I know you said you didn't like this Kozan, but in fairness to Classic, this got a lot of work done in game number 1. He got, I think, like 10 drones. He got a couple queens. He put pressure on the map. He did not lose because of the disruptor drop. He lost because Serral sniped the base, and his disruptor control, once he was actually pushing, wasn't all that great. Before that.
All right, yeah, I don't know. To me, it felt like the disruptor drops were a little, or at least the damage from the drones was a little bit late. And I don't know how many queens he got. Maybe I missed a couple, but I think I only saw like 1 or 2 go down, maybe 3 in the initial parts. But, oh well. It always has a lot of potential, right? That's the big deal about disruptor drops. It has a lot of potential. Here we are, there's a Warp Prism. The Overlord knows there's a Warp Prism. Like, Serral's, he's gonna be like a hawk right now. He's gonna be staring at that minimap. He is not gonna get his eyes removed from that minimap for longer than, a half a second, probably.
Yeah, now, Kozan, I do like this. We're seeing Classic take your advice, where you're saying, look, Classic needs to remove the scouting ability of Serral. Well, while we wait for these disruptors, while we wait for Warp Prism speed, we get the one stalker in the Warp Prism, trying to knock down all the scouting Zerglings, trying to knock down any amount of scouting Overlords, things like that. And here's the second evolution, the second change that Classic has made in this game. He's waiting for Warp Prism speed before he moves out of the map, and B, he's waiting until he has 2 disruptors, so he's not going to go for a single disruptor and like try to make something happen, then shuffle back, shuffle forward. No. He's going to have Queen Assassination ability from the get-go. And yeah, here we go. It's going to be the Disruptor Colossus all in behind this, as we do have Colossus on the way. Extended Thermal Lance as well. And while it's going to take a while to get there, while there is a 3rd base underway, the timing that Classic is looking for is with 2 Colossus, with 2 Disruptors, with Blinken with +1. Oh, that's a big Queen connection.
Yeah, good bit of energy being wasted there. Transfuse coming into play. Another Overlord Scout is looking to get his eyes on the follow-up here, and yeah. I mean, Classic really tried to get rid of all the scouting, didn't he? He really, really tried. But it's still there. There's still an Overlord. Just comes in and he's like, yeah, hello guys. So it's down on the other side of the map all this time.
Exactly. Just take weird routes and suddenly it's going to work out. Man, I almost wish Classic had gone and, shot the Novas on the eggs there. Of course, with the spell damage with the Disruptor shots, you actually could have killed all the eggs. And of course, Classic doesn't know what's being built, but I think there were like 2 Overlords in that. Would have slowed Serral down. Yeah, it's a decent amount.
I would love if there was a skin for Overlords where they're dressed up like a confused tourist that just kind of waddles in with a map into your opponent's base, like, where am I? What's happening? I'm sorry, my brain just...
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, he loses a Disruptor.
Oh, yeah, he does. That's, I mean, he does get 2 Overlords, and he does get whatever was canceled out of those, well, out of the eggs. But there we go. Yeah, the push coming on in earnest from Classic. That was a fake third even. It wasn't even the 3 base push. It's 2 base, 2 Disruptor, or now 1 Disruptor because he did lose 1. Double Colossus. Immortals are going to start rallying. Serral, though, he's got a lot of roaches on the way. He knows what this is. He did scout the canceled third. And by the way, this is not the Blink Stalker idea. There's no Blink on these Stalkers. There's no +1. It's just Sentries, Disruptors, Colossus, trying to find as much push as possible. And now, Disruptor Shot is only going to get 1 Ravager. Not all that great.
Absolutely great splitting there, and Serral only loses 1 of them. A lot of force fields there, capturing the roaches, but again, Serral on top with the Biling and gets most of his forces out of there.
And we are
so far.
Now we are seeing Classic starting to be able to move down the ramp here just a little bit, pushing Serral back. Oh, the Immortal on the rally. That's going to go down too. A lot of the oomph that we're looking for from this army of Classic is just really starting to go down, as now Serral realizing that, yeah, he has enough here at least to start being a little bit more aggressive. Yes, 2 Colossus do a lot, and you got to be careful. You got to wait until Classic moves down the ramp before you really close the jaws of your trap. But even still, the army of Classic is starting to decrease. The army of Serral continues to grow. Classic's gonna need some really big Disruptor shots to make this happen.
Yeah, and he only has 1 left. And it misses. So he's getting close to killing this base. And again, I'm not sure if Serral would mind it too much. He's already remaking another one. As long as he gets to have a reasonable trade with the army as well, he should be okay. And he's got so much transfuse here. I think he's keeping this hatchery lower HP than he could, just so to lure Classic in a little bit further, deeper. Come on, you can take it down. It's low HP. Don't worry, I'm not going to shoot you when you try. No, it's fine.
You know, absolutely the interesting
strategy.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, you're really trying not to spend any more transfuse energy than what you oh, that's a massive shot on those queens. Than you really want to, right? Because you want to have transfuses for the roaches, the Ravagers, the queens, things like that. And now we do have Serral trying to push his way up the ramp. And yeah, that was big. So if Classic was able to break this base down, suddenly it is 2 hatch production versus 2, until of course the 4th is done, which it is now. It's 2 hatch production versus 2. It's 2 base mining versus 2. Maybe you're able to make something happen. But as it stands right now, it's 3 Serral just has more production than Classic does at the moment, which is making it really hard for him to really push on in here. And that 30 army supply lead we had, it's now 50. Serral, yeah, he can't break these Colossi. Colossus do a lot of damage, even if you're not light units. But we've noticed a couple times now him start to push on in. Imagine how much better this push would be if you had that second Disruptor zone in, as now we do have the Roaches moving on in, the Ravagers as well. Biles, again, great splits from Classic, but the Disruptor's now dead. Now it's only 2 Colossus, a bunch of Stalkers.
I'm not sure how much better it would even be. Like, he gets the base, that's something. But so far, that 1 Disruptor, I may have missed something, but I think he only killed 1 Roach. Like, the rest of those shots were dodged quite expertly well by Serral. Here he goes, maybe a last envelopment. Will he be able to just slap it all down right now? These Colossi, only 1 War Prism spot available. I think he's gonna tap out here, isn't he?
Yeah, Biles dropping on the War Prism as well. Both Colossus are all that remain here as Classic. He took a game, but Serral takes the series 2-1, and he moves on to the winners match.